The Georgia Guidestones are a granite monument erected in 1980 in Elbert County, Georgia, in the United States. A set of 10 guidelines is inscribed on the structure in 8 modern languages, and a shorter message is inscribed at the top of the structure in 4 ancient language scripts. The monument stands at an approximate elevation of 750 feet above sea level, about 90 miles east of Atlanta, 45 miles from Athens, Georgia, and 9 miles north of the center of the city of Elberton. One slab stands in the center with 4 arranged around it. A capstone lies on top of the 5 slabs, which are astronomically aligned. An additional stone tablet, which is set in the ground a short distance to the west of the structure, provides some notes on the history and purpose of the Guidestones. The structure is sometimes referred to as an American Stonehenge. The monument is 19 feet 3 inches tall, made from 6 granite slabs weighing 237,746 pounds in all. The anonymity of the Guidestones authors and their apparent advocacy of population control, eugenics, and internationalism have made them an object of controversy and conspiracy theories. In June 1979, a man using the pseudonym R.C. Christian approached the Elberton Granite Finishing Company on behalf of, quote, a small group of loyal Americans, end quote, and commissioned the structure. Christian explained that the stones would function as a compass, calendar, and clock, and should be capable of, quote, withstanding catastrophic events, end quote. Joe Fenley of Alberton Granite assumed that Christian was, quote, a nut, and attempted to discourage him by providing a quote for the commission, which was several times higher than any project the company had previously taken, explaining that the Guidestones would require additional tools and consultants. To Fenley's surprise, Christian accepted the quote. When arranging payment, Christian said that he represented a group which had been planning the Guidestones for 20 years and which wanted to remain anonymous. Christian delivered a scale model of the Guidestones and 10 pages of specifications. The 5-acre or 2-hectare land was apparently purchased by Christian on October 1st, 1979, from farm owner Wayne Mullenix. Mullenix and his children were given lifetime cattle grazing rights on the Guidestone site. On March 22, 1980, the monument was unveiled before an audience variously described as 100 or 400 people. Christian later transferred ownership of the land and the Guidestones to Elbert County. In 2008, the stones were defaced with polyurethane paint and graffiti with slogans such as, quote, "Death to the New World Order," end quote. Wired magazine called the defacement, quote, "the first serious act of vandalism in the Guidestones' history," end quote. In September 2014, an employee of the Elbert County Maintenance Department contacted the Federal Bureau of Investigation when the stones were vandalized with graffiti, including the phrase, quote, "I am Isis, goddess of love," end quote. A message consisting of a set of 10 guidelines or principles is engraved on the Georgia Guidestones in 8 different languages, one language on each face of the 4 large upright stones. Moving clockwise around the structure from due north, these languages are English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, traditional Chinese, and Russian. Number 1. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Number 2. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Number 3. Unite humanity with a living new language. Number 4. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Number 5. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Number 6. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Number 7. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Number 8. Balance personal rights with social duties. Number 9. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Number 10. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. A few feet to the west of the monument, an additional granite ledger has been set level with the ground. This tablet identifies the structure, and the languages used on it lists various facts about the size, weight, and astronomical features of the stones, the date it was installed, and the sponsors of the project. It also refers to a time capsule buried under the tablet, but blank spaces on the stone intended for filling in the dates on which the capsule was buried and is to be opened have not been inscribed, so it is uncertain if the time capsule was ever actually put in place. The tablet is somewhat inconsistent with respect to punctuation and misspells the word pseudonym. The original spelling, punctuation, and line breaks in the text have been preserved in the transcription which follows. At the top center of the tablet is written, "The Georgia Guidestones, Center Cluster erected March 22, 1980. Immediately below this is the outline of a square, inside which is written, "Let these be guidestones to an age of reason." Around the edges of the square are written translations to 4 ancient languages, one per edge. Starting from the top and proceeding clockwise, they are Babylonian in Cuneian script, Classical Greek, Sanskrit, and Ancient Egyptian in hieroglyphs. On the left side of the tablet is the following text. Astronomical features. Number 1. Channel through stone indicates celestial pole. Number 2. Horizontal slot indicates annual travel of sun. Number 3. Sunbeam through capstone marks noontime throughout the year. Author, R.C. Christian. In parentheses, a pseudonym. Sponsors, a small group of Americans who seek the age of reason. Time capsule, placed 6 feet below this spot, on, to be opened on. The words appear as shown under the time capsule heading. No dates are engraved. Below the 2 columns of text is written the caption, "Guidestone Languages," with a diagram of the granite slab layout beneath it. The name of 8 modern languages are inscribed along the long edges of the projecting rectangles, one per edge. Starting from due north and moving clockwise around so that the upper edge of the northeast rectangle is listed first, they are English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. At the bottom center of the tablet is the following text. Additional information available at Elberton Granite Museum and Exhibit, College Avenue, Elberton, Georgia. The 4 outer stones are oriented to mark the limits of the 18.6-year lunar declination cycle. The center column features a hole drilled at an angle from one side to the other, through which can be seen the North Star, a star whose position changes only very gradually over time. The same pillar has a slot carved through it which is aligned with the sun's solstices and equinoxes. A 7/8 inch or 22 millimeter aperture in the capstone allows a ray of sun to pass through at noon each day, shining a beam at the center stone indicating the day of the year. Yoko Ono said the inscribed messages are, quote, "a stirring call to rational thinking," end quote. while Wired stated that unspecified opponents have labeled them as the, quote, Ten Commandments of the Antichrist, end quote. The Guidestones have become a subject of interest for conspiracy theorists. One of them, an activist named Mark Dice, demanded that the Guidestones, quote, be smashed into 1,000,000 pieces and then the rubble used for a construction project, end quote, claiming that the Guidestones are of, quote, a deep satanic origin, end quote, and that R.C. Christian belongs to, quote, a Luciferian secret society, end quote, related to the New World Order. At the unveiling of the monument, a local minister proclaimed that he believed the monument was, quote, for sun worshippers, for cult worship, and for devil worship, end quote. Conspiracy theorist Jay Weidner had said that the pseudonym of the man who commissioned the stones, R.C. Christian, resembles Rose Cross Christian, or Christian Rosencreuz, the founder of the Rosicrucian order. The most widely agreed upon interpretation of the stones is that they describe the basic concepts required to rebuild a devastated civilization. Author Brad Meltzer notes that the stones were built in 1979 at the height of the Cold War, and thus argues that they may have been intended as a message to the possible survivors of a nuclear World War III. The engraved suggestion to keep humanity's population below 500 million could have been made under the assumption that war had already reduced humanity below this number. The Guidestones were briefly shown and discussed in the documentary films Sherman's March in 1986 and Endgame, Blueprint of Global Enslavement, 2007, and were featured extensively in a 2012 episode of Mysteries of the Museum, a Monumental Mysteries special featuring Don Wildman. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene responded to a 2018 Facebook post endorsing a number of conspiracy theories, including one about the Guidestones. Taylor Greene wrote, quote, that is all true. By the way, I've seen the Georgia Guidestones, end quote.